Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between the newly released iPhone 12 and the somewhat older iPhone 7 Plus. Now, I'm sure most of you guys can probably already guess that if you have an iPhone 7 Plus, going up to an iPhone 12 is probably the best way to go. But this is the best iPhone, one of the best iPhones you can buy, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best bang for your buck. When you look at both phones, the iPhone 12 costs, about $829 to pick up right now. The iPhone 7 Plus costs like about $250, even less than that in a lot of places to pick up. So when it comes down to both, I don't know, you can figure out which one you want, but definitely the iPhone 12 is the better phone overall than the 7 Plus. So if you want to pick up either of these ones for the cheapest prices that I find, I'll link them down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can kind of see that the iPhone 12 is, the smaller phone between the two. The iPhone 7 Plus is bigger in every dimension. It's longer, it's wider. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better, but even with the 7 Plus, it has a smaller panel than the iPhone 12. On the 7 Plus, you have a 5.5-inch IPS panel, and it's not bad. The resolution is pretty decent, and I think for the most part, the panel itself isn't bad. I think it's everything surrounding the panel that may not be the best look for this device. You have a pretty big top bezel, a pretty big bottom bezel as well. It's not the end of the world. I've said this before and I'll say it again, like bezels and all this stuff, like it's not anything to be like super crazy about, but on a phone like the 7 Plus, it definitely doesn't look the greatest. Not to hate on it, I use that phone as a main device and I liked it. But with the iPhone 12, you are getting a better looking phone, more modern phone. And actually, with the new flat sides on the iPhone 12, it actually makes the phone look even better, in my opinion. Now, in the hand, it may feel a little bit different, but that's totally up to you. And, with that 6.1-inch panel on it, it definitely looks good at the end of the day. I don't think anybody's going to look at this panel and feel like it's a bad panel at all. And definitely going from an iPhone 7 Plus to the iPhone 12, you are 100% going to be getting a better panel. And, there's really not much more to say after that. Now, in terms of the thickness, I don't know actually which one is technically thinner on paper, but if I had to say it, I feel like the iPhone 7 Plus feels thinner and it might even look a little bit thinner than the iPhone 12. I'll let you guys kind of be the judge of that, but that's kind of how I would think about it. But on the back, there's some pretty big differences. On the iPhone 12, dual camera setup, 7 Plus dual camera setup, but the 12 does feel way more premium. You have this glass back that feels really nice on the iPhone 12. The 7 Plus has that standard aluminum back, and with the flat sides on the iPhone 12, it really feels more like a flagship device than the iPhone 7 Plus. I feel like if the 7 Plus had glass on the back, more like the 8 Plus, that phone will feel really, really good, but the 12 definitely feels more premium. So to kind of sum up the outside, I mean, there's a lot of differences between them. The iPhone 12 looks better, it feels better. You also have that MagSafe capability on the back of the iPhone 12. On top of that, you're getting better IP certification from the iPhone 12 as well. And a little minor thing, going from the base model, the 32 gig model in the iPhone 7 Plus, you're getting twice the amount of storage. The base model of the iPhone 12 is 64 gigs. A minor thing, but if you're into it, then that's you. But that's really pretty much it in terms of the outside. Now, I think the biggest difference, besides probably the performance, would probably, and maybe even the camera, would probably be these software updates. The iPhone 7 Plus came out in 2016. It's not the latest phone, it doesn't have the latest chipset, and because of that, you're going to be getting a longer lasting phone from the iPhone 12. And that is something that is very important. When you have a phone like the iPhone 12 and you buy brand new, you're not just buying, a better screen, better body, better performance. You're buying a longer lasting supported iPhone. And the 7 Plus is probably still going to be supported for like another year to probably 2 years to be realistic. But I don't think it's going to be a device where you pick up now and you won't have to worry about years and years. Like, you're going to have to worry about it probably within a year from now, to be honest. And we're probably going to start making videos and rumors like, is the 7 Plus getting iOS 16 or not? We'll probably figure it out then. But definitely the iPhone 12 will probably last at least like 3 more years at least than the iPhone 7 Plus, maybe more, but I guess we'll figure out then. But in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up. Let's go and hit on the performance now. The iPhone 12 has that Apple A14 Bionic chip with 4 gigabytes of RAM. The iPhone 7 Plus has that Apple A10 Fusion chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, the first iPhone to actually bring 3 gigs. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, I'm pretty sure all the apps are already clear on the background, so let's just get into it finally. Let's do the app stores. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 definitely was faster than the 7 Plus, a little bit behind it. Maybe not a big deal, but that was definitely a quick one that I was able to see. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. And even these minor apps are faster. Message, Safari. And one thing I always love seeing is, 3, 2, 1 is basically seeing, just the little minor things, like even loading web pages and opening up a like a simple app like, phone calls. Seeing those type of differences are really, really important to me in my head. And for sure, when it comes down to it, the iPhone 12 so far has been doing pretty good. Music is probably going to be about the same. These pop-ups are a little weird, so we'll not even count that. Now, as usual, I have a bunch of these third-party apps that we can go and get into. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And as usual, I think the iPhone 12 is probably going to outperform the iPhone 7 Plus in pretty much every single way. You can see the 7 Plus was still on this loading panel, and it did take a while. I don't want to say the iPhone 7 Plus is like a horribly slow device because I don't think it is. I think it's actually a pretty smooth device for a 2016 phone, but definitely when it came down to this specific comparison, even clicking on the play button was faster on the iPhone 12. Those little minor things are also very important. And I clicked play on both of them, and look how much ahead of the iPhone 12 is than the iPhone 7 Plus. That's a pretty big little comparison there. Bofa 3, 2, 1. Again, the iPhone 12 is faster. iPhone 7 Plus a little bit behind it. Dropbox 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 12 is faster. Let's do Quizlet 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 12 is the faster one. iPhone 7 Plus behind it. Let's do Netflix 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 12 is faster. 7 Plus shortly behind it. Snake vs. Blocks 3, 2, 1. And again, the 12 is faster. The 7 Plus a little bit behind. And one thing I like to see is the glitchiness between these. Look how much smoother the iPhone 12 is. And even on a simple game like this isn't that crazy of a game, you can still see some, glitches here and there on the iPhone 7 Plus. The iPhone 12 did a really good job throughout. Let's do Thank You. 3, 2, 1. And actually, the iPhone 7 Plus was faster there. I don't know why that happened. So that was, 1 for the 7 Plus, and I think like 7 for the iPhone 12. And gameplay, I think, is about the same. So that was really interesting. I don't know why I flip flop there. Stack 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 was faster there as well. iPhone 7 Plus, a little bit behind it. Let's get into some gameplay. And I already messed this up, but I would have assumed they were about the same. Fruit Ninja 3, 2, 1. And a couple of different pop-ups on both, so I do have to put in the age on here. Maybe I have to do it on here too. And I don't know what just happened, but I think the iPhone 12 was still faster there. We can do Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 12 was faster there. It was actually very, very close. I clicked the play button on both the same time, and you can see there again that the iPhone 12 was faster. Gameplay wise, I think you guys will be able to tell. It's very hard to play both games and dock at the same time, but I'm probably going to assume that the iPhone 12 is smoother, but I'll let you guys kind of fight about it in the comments. So Facebook 3, 2, 1. Again, the 12 is faster. 7 Plus, a little bit behind it. We can go and end it off with the Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Now this one may take a while on the 7 Plus. We may even get into a downloading panel on the 7 Plus, so I'll probably just, end it maybe quicker than I thought. Once the iPhone 12 loads, I'll give it like a couple extra seconds on the 7 Plus. But as you can see, we're still on this specific loading panel. Sometimes it does glitch up here and just goes into the downloading panel, so I guess we'll see what happens, but hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it does load through. And okay, I guess we'll just leave it at that. So definitely when it comes down to it, I mean, I didn't even have to load up the last one. You guys are able to tell that the iPhone 12 is the far better performing phone. RAM management, I want to go ahead and test, but definitely if you're going from the iPhone 7 Plus to the iPhone 12, you're definitely going to be getting a better performing device for sure. I think everyone kind of already expects that. RAM management on the phone calls it restart on the 7 Plus, but this one kind of, kept restarted both. But I'll definitely say going from the 7 Plus to the iPhone 12 is a really good, upgrade for the performance sake. I'll definitely say if you have a 7 Plus, even going to an iPhone 11, you're going to see pretty big improvements in terms of the speed comparison. But bro, I don't know why this just happened. I don't know why Temple Run 2 restarted on the iPhone 7 Plus, on the iPhone 12, but the iPhone 7 Plus was able to keep that in the background. That actually doesn't make any sense to me, and I have to investigate this further. So let's take this one. And okay, both of them were able to keep that one in the background. And things like that, I don't really understand because the iPhone 12 should be better in the RAM management category for every single app. It shouldn't be like sometimes it's faster, sometimes it should be faster every single time in terms of RAM management. So that is very weird why that happened. So far, it's doing pretty much the same so far, but that was very, very weird. So, I mean, maybe in terms of RAM management, they're like about the same, but definitely when it comes down to the speed comparison, the iPhone 12 is the faster one. And I'll go and do a full speed comparison at some point, but let's go and hit on the cameras. Now, as stated before, the iPhone 12 has a dual camera setup, so does the 7 Plus, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide. The iPhone 7 Plus has a 12 megapixel wide and then a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. Now, in terms of the user interfaces and features of both, you can do 4K on both cameras. You can do 4K at 60 on the iPhone 12. And on top of that, I think, in terms of the features, they have portrait mode and different things like that. You have a couple of more features on the iPhone 12, but honestly, like they're both very similar in terms of the feature standpoint. I think, Android is killing it right now in the features. These ones aren't really killing it, to be honest. But the front camera, I think that's where the biggest difference is. The iPhone 12 has a ability to do 4K at 60 on the front camera. The iPhone 7 Plus can only do 1080p. Is it a big deal? It's totally up to you, but you're going to be getting a better camera setup overall in the 12. But I still think for a majority of people out there, the 7 Plus's camera is okay. It's very, very average. I don't think anybody's going to look at this camera and be like, wow, this is the best camera in the world. I think people are going to look at it and be very, very, indecisive. Like nobody's really going to look at this camera and be like, it's the best camera. And I think if you're making Snapchats and videos and photos and stuff like that, you're probably going to be okay. But if you're trying to get, a really good camera, like the best camera, in a phone right now, the iPhone 12 is probably the best way to go. And on top of just the camera lens itself, I think a really cool thing about it is the ultra-wide sensor. I like the telephoto lenses, I think they're great, but I think when it comes down to it, the ultra-wide sensors are far better in my opinion. You have the ability of getting way more in a photo. Look how much more I can get into even this one. And on top of that, the ability of doing 4K at 60 on this front camera on the iPhone 12 is really, really important to me. And it may not, be the biggest deal to some people, but for me, I actually like having that ability, and I would rather take a better front-facing camera than a better back camera in my opinion. And this one just happens to be both, so in terms of the cameras, the iPhone 12 definitely wins. Now, ending it off with the battery life, I actually did a battery comparison between these two, and I don't know when I'm going to drop it, but I'll pretty much spoil it here. The iPhone 12 did have better battery life than the iPhone 7 Plus by quite a bit. On iOS 14 on my 7 Plus, it didn't last even more than I think like 2 hours or 3 hours or something like that. Whenever I drop that full video, I'll go and link it down below. But that was something that was really interesting. So for my test, the iPhone 12 actually did have better battery life, but because the battery size is bigger on the iPhone 7 Plus, I would have thought, opposite. But I think iOS 14 had a huge toll on this battery life. And if you have an iOS 13 7 Plus, they'll probably end up being a little bit, more so the same. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the iPhone 7 Plus? Should you get the 12? Should you go from the 7 Plus to the Pro? Let me go ahead and explain it to you like this. If you have an iPhone 7 Plus, obviously going to the iPhone 12 is a huge upgrade. This phone is a bit outdated. It's not completely outdated yet. It still has a couple of features for the most part, but the iPhone 12 is the better phone 100%. So if you're trying to go from one phone to the other, going from the 7 Plus to the 12 is a really, really good upgrade in my opinion. But the 7 Plus still has a couple of things going for it. It's a super cheap phone, pretty okay cameras, battery life could have been better. Performance is still kind of okay. This phone is really just an okay phone overall. It doesn't really excel in any place, and I think a lot of people know that. But the iPhone 12 is the best iPhone. This and the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max. This set of iPhones are the best iPhones you can buy. So it only makes sense going from the 7 Plus to the 12. It just is a worthwhile upgrade for the most part. But that doesn't necessarily mean that these two phones are the only ones available. I think the 7 Plus to the iPhone 11 is also a really, really good upgrade. And I would recommend a lot of people going from the 7 Plus to the iPhone 11, even in iPhone 10R. And Apple happens to sell the 12s, 11s, and 10Rs still on the Apple Store. And I would highly recommend anybody, if they want to, go to the Apple Store and pick up even an iPhone 10R. That is still going to be a pretty big upgrade coming from the 7 Plus in my opinion. So in terms of everything, I'll definitely tell you, like I stated before, the 7 Plus is a good phone, but the iPhone 12 is a really, really good upgrade. And I would probably recommend anybody who has a 7 Plus to go for an iPhone 12 if you have the money. But if you don't, getting an iPhone 11 or iPhone 10R is still a really good upgrade in my opinion. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.